Hey, what's up, guys? Today, I'll show you a supernatural horror film, Tales from the Dark Part 2. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie has 3 horrifying segments. The first one, entitled Pillow, starts with Ching, a charismatic nurse who lives with her boyfriend in one apartment. When Ching arrives home, she greets her boyfriend, who is busy assembling his model ship. She then goes to the bathroom. After a while, her boyfriend notices that whenever his phone rings, the phone inside Ching's bag rings as well. He then finds out that his messenger is logged in on her phone. Ching hurriedly goes out of the bathroom when she hears the sound of her phone. However, it's too late because her secret is already exposed. In extreme frustration, her boyfriend confronts her as to why she's interfering with his personal messages. Ching finds out he lent money to his ex-girlfriend, then gets the belongings of his ex-girlfriend under the bed and questions why he still keeps them. He just answers that his ex-girlfriend badly needs money and he feels obligated to help her since they had been together for a long time. Ching isn't convinced, so she flies into a temper and tears up his boyfriend's picture with his ex-girlfriend. At work, Ching messages her boyfriend, begging him to come home, but there is no response. It has been a week since they fought, but up until now, she hasn't heard anything from him. Her friend tells her to stop looking, because he might not want to see her after their argument. Then, a doctor arrives and asks Ching about her insomnia condition. She answers that she tried all the medicines that he prescribed, but none of them work. He then advises her that changing her pillow might help cure her insomnia. Afterward, Ching's friend invites her and the doctor to go to a bar. The friend knows that the doctor has feelings for Ching. That's why she helps them to get closer to each other. That night, all of them are having a great time in the bar, except for Ching. The doctor advises her to give her boyfriend time and space. Later, Ching bids goodbye. The doctor offers her a ride, but she refuses. When she's about to leave, her friend follows and tells her to give the doctor a chance. But she declines because she's still waiting for her boyfriend. At home, Ching still struggles to sleep, so she decides to walk outside. She goes down the alley where she finds a small store. She looks for a new pillow as per the doctor's advice. A flowery pillow captures her attention. According to the owner, it's a medicinal pillow that will give her a good night's sleep, so she doesn't hesitate to buy it. It is revealed that the small store is already abandoned, and the pillow is haunted with spirit. At home, while Ching is busy in the kitchen, a shadow passes behind her, but she just ignores it. Later, she falls asleep after hugging and smelling the pillow. She then wakes up when she feels that someone is touching her. She is surprised upon seeing her boyfriend, who she misses a lot. Ching then wakes up, hugging the pillow with tears in her eyes. She realizes that it's just an erotic dream, but then she's confused to see her underwear on the sofa. It's then revealed that on the night they fought, her boyfriend packed his things to leave. To stop him, Ching pointed a sharp object at her neck. Her boyfriend tried to prevent her from hurting herself, but she accidentally cut her boyfriend in the neck, causing a massive blood loss. Ching tried to save him, but to no avail. To cover the crime, Ching put her boyfriend's corpse in a Ziploc bag and hid it inside the closet. Afterward, Ching burned offerings and lit incense for her dead boyfriend. Thereafter, she sits on the sofa, smells the pillow, and then falls asleep. When she opens her eyes, she sees her boyfriend assembling his model ship. She then asks why he's only appearing in her dreams. He answers that it is the only way for them to see each other. Eventually, they fall into an intense love on the sofa. Ching feels that there is something weird with her boyfriend's actions, but she just ignores it because she is madly in love with him. At work, Ching apologizes to her friend for arriving late because she overslept. She shares that she has a new pillow that helps cure her insomnia. After a while, the doctor arrives and tells Ching that he has an investigator friend who can help in finding her boyfriend. Without hesitation, she accepts his offer. The next day, the investigators arrive at Ching's house. They feel cold inside. Ching says that on the night that they fought, her boyfriend took his passport, then walked away. The investigators tell her that they will just update her once they find him. Ching needs to preserve her boyfriend's corpse. That's why the apartment is so cold. Later that day, Ching receives a call from her friend, inviting her to their reunion, but she declines. Ching falls asleep and enjoys a romantic moment with her boyfriend again in her dreams. She constantly repeats the cycle over and over. One day, when she looks in the mirror, she notices that her hair falls due to exhaustion. It seems like meeting her lover in her dreams drains her energy. Finally, Ching asks for her friend's help in filing a leave of absence without telling her the reason. Once again, she falls asleep and dates her boyfriend. She looks exhausted, but she doesn't want to stop. However, her real boyfriend, covered with blood, appears later. It's revealed that the man beside her is the spirit from the haunted pillow. The boyfriend commands the spirit to leave Ching, but he refuses, then tells him not to worry because they will meet in the afterlife soon. The boyfriend disappears when the sun shines. Unbeknownst to the ghost, the boyfriend already asks the help of the investigators and Ching's friend through a message, telling them Ching is in trouble. The segment ends with the friend and investigators rushing to Chin's apartment. Luckily, they arrive on time and save her. The second segment, entitled Hide and Seek, starts with a young adult named Fatty, who is hiding inside his dark, stinky room. Suddenly, his elementary friend, Char, arrives. They both express regrets about the things that they did a few days ago. A week ago, Fatty and their elementary friends go to their old school after learning that it would be demolished. To ease their sadness, they decide to celebrate their friend Ceci's birthday there. They wander around the school and reminisce their happy memories in it. Ceci stands in front of the picture of their former teacher, who died during the SARS outbreak. She recalls that their class was suspended for 2 months because of the pandemic, and when it resumed, they found out that many of their schoolmates and teachers had died because of the outbreak. Ceci is getting emotional, so Fatty and the others decide to prank her by saying that their former teacher is with them. Ceci is frightened for a while, but then realizes that they are just teasing her, so she hits Fatty to retaliate. When the group left the room, a strange sound was heard. The group continues to roam around the school. Ceci grabs an old costume and imagines that she is dancing with her former teacher. Suddenly, she screams upon seeing the school's caretaker. He doesn't seem happy upon seeing the group. He even warns them to go home before it gets dark because it's hard to find public transportation around the area. Instead of listening to him, the group goes to the rooftop to play cards and eat skewers. After a while, the girls go to the comfort room, while Fatty follows them. Inside the cubicle, Ceci's friend asks her who she prefers between Fatty and Char. She answers that she only sees them as friends. When her friend goes out, she feels terrified by a sudden gust of wind passing behind her, causing her hair to move. She then asks for toilet paper. Little did she know, her friend had already gone out, and the one who gave her the toilet paper is a ghost. Fatty has a secret crush on Ceci, so he bribes their friend to record Ceci's answer, whether she likes him or Char. However, while he is listening to the recording, he gets electrified, making him drop the phone. He wonders why he hears static noise and strange sounds instead of Ceci's voice. Later on, the group decides to play the game named Master and Ghost. In this game, there is a master, a ghost, and 5 humans. The master needs to look for them within 15 minutes, and the one who will not be caught will win the cash prize. The game finally starts. Fatty goes into a room with Ceci's sister, while Ceci hides in another room. Fatty calls Ceci to tell her who among their friends is the master, because he wants her to win the game. While they are on a video call, Ceci's sister notices that someone is behind her, but she just ignores it. The ghosts keep haunting the group, but they just neglect them. In fact, in the students' mural, the ghost students come out one by one. Meanwhile, Char calls Ceci to warn her that the master is on the 4th floor. After a while, he notices that someone is behind Ceci. She screams upon seeing a movement at the back of the desk. At first, it seems like a ghost, but it's just her friend who wants to scare her. At last, 15 minutes ends, and Ceci is the declared winner. They photograph her happily holding the cash prize, but they don't notice that behind her is a ghost student. Eventually, the group wants to go home, but suddenly it rains, so they decide to stay. They go to the caretaker's room to borrow a bed in exchange for cigarettes and alcohol, which he immediately accepts. They think that there is something weird with the caretaker, after seeing those symbols on his wall that are used to drive spirits away. Unfortunately, the group is unaware that the caretaker is suffering from a heart attack. He falls to the floor and eventually dies. Meanwhile, in the comfort room, while Ceci's sister is inside the cubicle, she is unaware that the ghost of the former teacher is at her back. Afterward, the group decides to have another game and leaves Ceci's sister sleeping in the room. One of them hides inside the caretaker's room without realizing that he's already dead. 2 of the boys prank the girls by showing them an image of Sadako using a flashlight. The girls scream to death, but then realize that the boys are just pranking them. When they leave, a ghost of a young student is seen standing in the corner. At the moment, Fatty is in a room where he gets goosebumps after seeing the pictures of his former teachers, who died because of the pandemic. While he is hiding, someone behind him keeps on saying that she would like to be a human again. At first, he thought that she's one of his friends, but as its face gets closer, he realizes it's the ghost of his former teacher. Fatty crawls out of the room in fear. The scene goes back to the mural, and surprisingly, the images of the students are gone. In the other room, Char hides, but is caught by his friend. Before they go out, Char sees a ball on the floor, then kicks it out the window. As they leave the room, a beheaded student comes out and sits on the chair. It is shown that the ball that Char kicked is the child's head. Half of the group continue to look for the others. It's very dark, so while walking, they put their hands on the shoulder of one another as guides. They are unaware that the ghost students are at their back. The ghost students and teachers gather together in the room where Ceci's sister is sleeping. Char then goes to the room and notices that Ceci's sister is missing. They look everywhere, but she's nowhere to be found. Fatty anxiously enters the room where she finds Ceci looking for her sister. Ceci keeps on looking for her sister, then sees a young girl walking towards a room. When she's about to approach it, she cries out in fear of an old ghost facing her. Finally, the scene goes back to the present time where Fatty and Char are talking in the room. According to Char, he learned the game Master and Ghost from his grandfather. They realize that the game is cursed. That's why nobody dares to play it anymore. Char then turns into a ghost and reminds Fatty that they are already dead and it's time for them to go to hell. Soon after, Char vanishes into thin air. Fatty then looks at the mirror and finds the ugly truth that he's already a ghost. In the end, the ghost teachers and students stay together in one room while Fatty and his friends are already in the mural. The last segment, entitled Black Umbrella, starts with Jenny, a seductive young woman who wants to have her own family despite being a prostitute. She had been bullied before, so she promised herself that it would never happen again. Jenny receives a voice message from her boss, instructing her to prepare and look for customers since they are expecting few clients, for people are busy celebrating the Ghost Festival. Jenny promises herself that after her work, she will definitely visit her parents' grave because she misses them a lot. Meanwhile, a hobbit-sized old man named Mr. Hobbit is on a boat talking to young people who don't believe in ghosts. A woman gets scared when he says ghosts are intangible and they are everywhere. He then reminds them they shouldn't be afraid of ghosts because humans are scarier. The group mocks Mr. Hobbit before they leave. As people get off the boat, a man under the stairs suddenly vanishes into thin air. Mr. Hobbit passes by some people who are burning offerings in celebration of the Ghost Festival. He says that today is his last night in the city, so he promises that he will do his best to do more good deeds. He looks at a child who is eating an offering, when suddenly, a group of young people on a skateboard pass by and almost run over him. He's surprised to see the child he is staring at suddenly disappears. Mr. Hobbit continues walking in a narrow, dim alley. He stops when he hears a sudden thunder. He then comes across a white lady standing on the stairs. While Mr. Hobbit is waiting for the traffic lights to change, an old woman suddenly crosses the street, so he immediately pulls her with his umbrella. Fortunately, the old woman is not hit by the bus, but instead of thanking Mr. Hobbit, she gets angry at him. Mr. Hobbit is left alone on the street as he marks the handle of his umbrella. It turns out he marks his umbrella whenever he does good things for others. Later on, Mr. Hobbit rides a bus to his home, but unfortunately, he falls asleep, causing him to pass his destination. While he's talking to the driver, a young man who looks intoxicated with drugs gets on the bus to rob them using a small cutter. Mr. Hobbit hits his hand with an umbrella, causing him to drop his weapon. The driver thanks Mr. Hobbit for helping him get rid of the young man, so in return he drives Mr. Hobbit back to his destination. In the alley, Mr. Hobbit helps a man who is being beaten by a bad man because of gambling. When Mr. Hobbit calls the police, the bad man runs as he threatens Mr. Hobbit that he wouldn't be lucky next time. Before he leaves, Mr. Hobbit once again puts a mark on his umbrella. A while later, he enters an underpass where he sees a young girl chasing other children. When he passes the underpass, the lights blink, and the white lady suddenly appears. Mr. Hobbit reaches a playground where he sees the previous young girl playing alone, then disappearing in a blink of an eye. It's revealed that the young girl is a ghost, and she lives in a tree with her beheaded parents. While Mr. Hobbit is walking on the sidewalk, Jenny intentionally bumps into him and pretends that she hurt her foot, so he walks her home. Jenny is frightened because before they enter the building, Mr. Hobbit shares that many people died there because of fire. Finally, Jenny starts seducing Mr. Hobbit. She undresses herself, then pushes him onto the bed, looking for his Hobbit hormones. He tries to stop her, but she is persistent. It seems like Mr. Hobbit is avoiding unexpected things to happen, so he just agrees to pay Jenny without accepting her hormone service. Jenny then explodes in anger after seeing that Mr. Hobbit's wallet is empty. She cries out for help as if she is the victim. Jenny's boyfriend enters the room, and surprisingly, he is the bad man that Mr. Hobbit met in the alley. He reminds Mr. Hobbit that he had warned him earlier. Before the man hits him, Mr. Hobbit utters that it's really hard to be kind. That same night, the owner of the apartment arrives and knocks on Jenny's room. She doesn't answer, so he calls Jenny's friend to help him open the door. At first, they think that Jenny is having an intimate night with Mr. Hobbit, but they are lost for words upon seeing internal organs scattered around the room. They immediately run when they come to their senses. Mr. Hobbit, covered with blood, is left in the room, hungrily eating Jenny's inside. It turns out he has been controlling the demon inside him for 129 years, and he doesn't expect that he will not be able to hold it until his last day in the city. The segment ends with Jenny crouching while holding the umbrella. She is now free to visit her parents, but she's ashamed that they will know how she died. It is revealed that Mr. Hobbit is controlling himself because he doesn't want to pass the curse to Jenny. Now that Jenny has the cursed umbrella, she needs to kill someone, so her soul will be set free. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.